Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving right into something that's quietly normalized permanent financial stress for millions of regular folks out there. We're talking about the hidden dangers of extended auto financing, specifically the 84-month loan. It's essentially a system designed to keep you permanently playing defense with your paycheck. So let's break it down piece by piece.
Have you ever found yourself in this situation? You're sitting in a high-pressure dealership office. You look down at the paperwork, and the monthly payment staring back at you honestly looks more like a mortgage than a car note. I mean, your eyes widen in panic, right? The salesperson sees this, and they immediately lean in with that practiced, comforting smile saying, "Hey, don't worry, we can make this work. We'll just stretch the term out to 84 months." In that high-stress moment, it sounds like an absolute lifeline. But here's the catch they aren't mentioning. They're handing you the keys to a financial prison. You're literally about to sign away 7 to 8 years of your life. That is longer than the average marriage, folks, all for a piece of metal that's going to be worth a mere fraction of what you paid for it.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the dealership illusion, and how they hide astronomical prices.
Which brings us straight to Section 2, the brutal math.
So, how exactly do dealers make these massive prices fit your budget? I mean, the average new car payment is now over $700. And if you're looking at trucks and SUVs, the ones people actually want, we're seeing payments pushing north of $900 or even $1,200 a month. No way, right? Well, they do it by extending the loan and hyper-focusing your attention strictly on that monthly number. And this brilliantly illustrates the trick. Let's say you take a $60,000 truck and finance it over a standard 4 years. The payment is a terrifying $1,500 a month. Most of us would run straight out of the dealership. But if you stretch that exact same $60,000 truck over 8 years, the payment magically drops to a much more manageable $900. It feels like a win. You get the truck and you kept the payment under $1,000. But here is the brutal reality they absolutely do not want you thinking about. $14,000. That is the extra interest penalty you're paying over the life of that loan just for the privilege of securing that lower monthly number. Think about that. You're paying a massive premium simply for the illusion of affordability. And that brings us to the really terrifying total. When you add it all up, that manageable $900 payment over 8 years equals a total cost of over $86,000 for a $60,000 truck. 86 grand. And remember, you're still going to be making payments on this thing when the warranty is a distant memory. This isn't just a bad deal, it's literal wealth destruction, just with heated seats and cup holders. And the math actually gets worse thanks to one simple reality. Cars depreciate incredibly fast. By year 5 or 6 of that 84-month term, you're going to owe significantly more on the loan than the truck is actually worth. That is the textbook definition of negative equity. You're effectively trapped. You become completely unable to sell or trade the vehicle without writing a massive check out of your own pocket just to escape the loan.
So let's talk about why this happens in Section 3, Automotive Stockholm Syndrome.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is understanding exactly why this works. If the math is objectively terrible, why do incredibly smart people fall for it every single day? Well, it's what's known as automotive Stockholm Syndrome. The auto industry has spent billions, literally billions of marketing dollars to convince you that a truck isn't just a way to get from point A to point B. They sell you an image. They sell you a truck that makes you look like a rugged mountain climber, or they sell the statement that you're successful, hardworking, and reliable. When you're buying into an identity like that, a $900 payment suddenly feels like an investment in yourself, right? Rather than the financial disaster it truly is. You become emotionally attached to your financial captor, fiercely defending that massive monthly payment, even as it quietly drains your ability to provide for your family's actual future.
Which leads right into Section 4, the financial hamster wheel.
Here's how the trap closes. When you inevitably get tired of a car, but you're stuck in that negative equity we just talked about, dealers will happily roll that old debt into a brand new, even longer loan. It creates this endless financial hamster wheel. And holding this kind of crushing long-term debt, it fundamentally changes how your brain operates. You're forced into a permanent survival mode mindset. Suddenly, every single financial decision you make is filtered through fear, because you are now a captive audience to the bank. You simply don't have the bandwidth to think about career growth or investing or new opportunities. Why? Because 100% of your mental energy is consumed by just keeping the wheels turning and making sure next month's payment clears.
But we can fix this. Let's look at Section 5, Walking Away Money. There is absolutely a way out. Let's move to the milestones and see how this power builds step by step when you finally say no to the status trap and reclaim that $900 a month. Imagine taking that money and funneling it into step 2, hitting a $10,000 savings milestone. Suddenly, a car repair or a medical bill isn't this catastrophic event that ruins your whole month. It's just a minor annoyance. You transition from financial panic to having actual breathing room. And if you keep going to step 3, accumulating $20,000, well, now you've reached the threshold of walking away money. This right here is your superpower. You walk into your job differently when you know you could quit tomorrow and easily survive for months. You negotiate everything in life from a position of absolute strength rather than desperation.
Consider the ultimate contrast here. On one side, you've got the person driving the flashy new truck on an 84-month loan. To the outside world, sure, they look super successful, but in reality, they are probably lying awake at 3 a.m. doing frantic mental math just to cover their bills. On the flip side, you have the person driving a reliable, used Honda, but they have 20 grand sitting comfortably in the bank. That person, they are the one who is actually free. It's the profound difference between the anxiety-inducing illusion of wealth and the incredibly liberating reality of true financial security.
So, the crucial point is summarized perfectly by our source material here. Real wealth isn't a shiny object in the driveway. Real wealth is freedom and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you own your time. That's the whole shebang right there. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to actually be free from the stress of owing your future labor to a bank. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Will you have the courage to say no to the things that don't matter so you can finally say yes to a life you actually own? It is time to stop the wealth destruction, take a hard look at your real numbers, reject that 84-month prison, and start building your untouched financial foundation today. Trust me, your future self is absolutely counting on it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.